asked ICE to bring some of their team, their SWAT team in to assist us.
The worries from the community is that that's all a lie.
Concerns about a new partnership between one Arizona county and ICE, with critics worried it will erode trust in law enforcement and potentially lead to racial profiling. Good evening. Welcome to West Coast Wrap. I'm Alex Savage. In the midst of the Trump administration's immigration crackdown, many law enforcement agencies across the West are barred from cooperating with federal authorities. But Arizona's Pinal County says it's ready to work with ICE. Fox 10's Ashley Rodriguez spoke with those who are now pushing back against this new partnership.
County Attorney Brad Miller says that his office and ICE are joining task forces going after drug and child traffickers, domestic violence, and crimes against children. He says that immigration is the precursor to some of these violent crimes, and with the help of ICE, he's going after the source.
I think people think that ICE or my office just drives around and starts pulling folks over. That's not how it works.
According to Pinal County Attorney Brad Miller, how the 287G partnership with ICE will work is by using targeted intelligence, going after specific individuals who've been under investigation, using search warrants granted by a judge.
Say we see a very dangerous individual who has been committing child trafficking, and he also happens to be an illegal immigrant. We can now ask ICE to bring some of their team, their SWAT team in to assist us with that operation.
Pinal County would get access to ICE resources like extra manpower and money, and in return, Pinal County identifies, detains, and helps ICE deport these illegal immigrants. Joining Navajo, La Paz, and Yavapai, which all have some form of 287G agreements with ICE, as well as the city of Mesa and the Department of Corrections. Under the rules of the partnership, local law enforcement cannot conduct immigration raids or stop people solely to check immigration status.
The worries from the community is that that's all a lie. The worries from the community is that we've already seen that ICE has been going into people's homes without warrants, that they've been arresting people, just racially profiling anybody. These people aren't guilty yet. And when they go and they're held at your prison, now they're being automatically screened. And a lot of them are being picked up and deported, even though they did nothing to say that they're a criminal. There's no reason for us to believe that it's going to be any different in Pinal County.
Miller said that he agreed to the partnership in the name of keeping Pinal County safe, but critics are quick to point out that immigration enforcement is a federal responsibility, not a local one. And while Miller is confident that the extra federal resources will cover the costs, other agencies say that the agreements have cost them millions of taxpayer dollars in overtime and legal challenges. In Florence, Ashley Rodriguez, Fox 10 News.
And ICE does have similar agreements with law enforcement in other West Coast states. It put together a map showing where it's developing relationships with law enforcement. The states in green have at least one agency at the municipal level that's working with ICE. The states in gray have laws or policies prohibiting that type of agreement. Those states include Washington, Oregon, and California. Hawaii is the only state left here in the West that could potentially develop a working relationship with ICE, but it has not yet made such a move. The makers of an app that alerts users to sightings of immigration raids is now suing the Trump administration. Apple removed ICE Block from its app store back in October after Attorney General Pam Bondi said it puts ICE agents at risk. The app's creator, Joshua Aaron, says this is a free speech violation. He filed a lawsuit earlier today. The Justice Department has not replied yet to request to comment on that suit. A group of people who live in an apartment complex near an ICE facility in Portland that was the scene of ongoing demonstrations are taking the Department of Homeland Security to court. Reach Community Development says repeated use of tear gas and other chemical munitions outside that facility is poisoning residents. Law enforcement has been using those chemical munitions to break up crowds of protesters for months now. Nearby residents say the toxins are leaking into their apartments and making them sick.
When they started doing it that first weekend in October, all the tear gas and the smoke bombs, I became extremely disoriented, and I fell 4 times in my apartment.
Every time I walked by somebody and we talked, I could hear raspiness in their throat. I could hear it in my own.
The Department of Homeland Security has not responded to requests to comment on that lawsuit. A house fire in California's Central Valley has left 5 people dead, including 4 children. This fire started late last night in Porterville, southeast of Fresno. Firefighters found all 5 victims inside the home, and despite life-saving efforts, 1 adult and 4 children were all pronounced dead at the scene. The victims have not yet been identified, and tonight authorities are continuing to investigate what caused that fire. Turning now to a severe weather threat in the Pacific Northwest. Let's take you live and show you the conditions tonight in Seattle. People in Washington and Oregon are bracing for several days of heavy rain, gusty winds, and snow. You can see the raindrops on the lens here from this shot. And let's show you what it looked like earlier today in Seattle as the stormy conditions rolled into the region. Winds were strong enough to shake the camera here, and you can see those raindrops on the lens. There has been on and off rain across the region over the past week or so, and that's especially concerning for first responders. They say the ground now is already saturated as these new storms move in, and that creates conditions that are ripe for flooding, mudslides, and falling trees. Satellite images give you a sense of the size of this atmospheric river that we're tracking tonight. The trail of storms headed for the Pacific Northwest stretches well out into the Pacific right now. Fox 13's Alejandra Guzman spoke with people in western Washington who are worried about what the next few days will bring.
As rain is expected to pick up in Duval, so does a caution. At Red Pepper Pizza, the delivery orders are keeping staff like Jenna Stringham busy, but the dining room isn't.
I believe due to the weather and the winds that no one wants to travel on the roads.
Residents here are used to wet winters like this, bringing heavy rain and strong winds.
I typically will take back roads when I can just to avoid it, but still there's always trees you're seeing leaning down on power lines. You're not sure if one's going to fall or not, and so it just overall when weather like this is picking up, I also try to stay home myself.
Eastside Fire and Rescue reported a tree did come down on 203 Saturday, killing 1 and leaving another hurt. A reminder of just how quickly things can change. At Pacific Bike and Ski, owner Paul Sanders is already thinking about the next 48 hours and what 203 will look like.
The road itself is just narrow all the way, from here all the way down to Fall City or wherever. There's no shoulder, there's barriers on both sides, so if anything happens, it's usually a big problem.
Paul says he's not worried about flooding at his shop, but he knows others are already filling sandbags to prevent it.
Duval generally I think is pretty safe. I think Carnation's going to get a little bit of extra water this year, but we'll see.
Whether they're selling bikes or boxing up pizza, the message is the same for those living in the area or just passing through.
Drive slow. Like if you're in a hurry, just remember speeding is going to get you nowhere quicker than a minute.
Just drive safe, you know, be careful out there. Don't be an idiot. Don't put your phone down, please, while you're on 203.
Alejandra Guzman, Fox News.
And you could probably argue the term atmospheric river might get a bit overused, but in this case, it is actually perfectly setting things up as far as describing what's happening, because it is a long band of moisture, a continuous band of moisture producing excessive rainfall over the coming days. So as you can see, rainfall totals over the past 24 hours in Washington really adding up in a few spots, over 2 inches of rainfall, and there is a lot of rain coming up, setting up over the next few days. So rainfall south of Seattle possibly could be on the order around 3 to 6 inches. This according to the National Weather Service, and you can see some higher amounts for the higher elevations. These are forecast projections right on through Thursday morning. And in general, all these areas in green under a flood watch in place right now. Not only for Tuesday, not on Wednesday, but Thursday, but lasting into Friday. So that's excessive rain. In fact, the radar picking up on all the action right now, as you can see, from Portland to Seattle. And here's all the coverage out there. And of course, those yellows and oranges do link up to some heavier downpours on the radar right now for tonight. Here's what's happening on the satellite and the radar. Once again, there's that plume of moisture being focused up toward this area. So while a good portion of the west is dry, this area up in the Pacific Northwest getting excess rainfall over the coming days. In fact, as we widen out the view here, we have dry conditions for California, dry conditions out toward Phoenix and Denver, some clouds approaching the area. As far as rainfall projections over the coming days, these numbers really going up, as you can pick out. These are not exact totals, but these are estimates for Wednesday, right on through Thursday here. So it could be on the order of over 2 inches and maybe just 0.01. You can see how things really taper off in Northern California. So here is a closer look look at the satellite once again, and there's that fog out toward the Central Valley, and then some dry conditions, some warm conditions for Los Angeles. This was the scene in Seattle today. Of course, those storm clouds coming on board. A temperature of 56 degrees. As we do take a look at San Francisco, some fog and some haze in this picture. Temperature of 52 degrees. If the fog were absent, San Francisco would probably be in the mid-60s, but that fog really cooling things off for portions of the Bay Area. And then in Phoenix, showing you some sunshine earlier today. Temperatures in the lower 70s. Outside right now, it is 57 in Las Vegas, Salt Lake City 42, and in the mid-50s out toward Portland and Seattle. Here's the forecast model. As you can see here, it'll be an interesting development into your Tuesday. Look what happens to this rain band. It actually moves a little bit to the south into portions of Oregon, so maybe the rainfall tapers a bit for the first half of Tuesday. But then later in the day and Tuesday, this could actually move back up to the north, and that'll be the source of more moderate to heavy rainfall for this portion of the West Coast for your Tuesday forecast. And as you can see here, those rain chances still happening into your Wednesday forecast. The rain's still a big part of the forecast. It's not going to clear out at all anytime soon. So here is the plan over the next few days. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we talked all about the rain up in Seattle, rainfall and wind, the flood watch. And then for the rest of the West, it's actually fairly mild down toward Los Angeles, lower 80s for Tuesday. Phoenix will be in the mid-70s. We'll bring in some more clouds out toward the Denver area. So, Alex, whenever you get a storm series, it's always so important to have those breaks. But unfortunately, it looks like we're not talking about any significant breaks in the rain up in the Seattle area, at least over the next few days.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough couple of days up there. We'll keep tracking it. Mark, thank you. Coming up tonight here on West Coast Wrap, video making the rounds online shows self-driving vehicles frozen on a San Francisco street. Up next tonight, why Waymo is calling this a teachable moment. Plus,
brought it up to the school. They just didn't respond to me.
Parents of an 8-year-old say their daughter was bullied into a so-called kissing club and assaulted at school. Tonight, we'll tell you how school administrators are responding to the allegations laid out in a new lawsuit.
Do they just
I don't know. I just pulled out of the garage and I saw this going on. It's like this Waymo standoff.
Video being widely shared online shows 3 self-driving cars getting stuck in a standoff of sorts in San Francisco. The situation blocked traffic and people trying to leave their homes on Saturday. You can see 2 of the Waymo robotaxis appear to have hit each other. According to the San Francisco Chronicle, Waymo says those vehicles made minor contact as they tried to perform turns in a cul-de-sac. The company is calling this a teachable moment for autonomous vehicles learning to navigate crowded streets. There are no reports of any injuries. Well, tonight the fight is heating up over who is going to acquire Warner Brothers Studios. Last week, Bay Area-based Netflix announced plans to buy the Southern California media giant in a deal that could reshape the entertainment industry. As Fox's Ashley Dvorkin reports, Paramount is now seeking to block the deal with a hostile takeover.
Paramount is launching a hostile takeover offer for media powerhouse Warner Brothers Discovery in an effort to outbid Netflix, which won a deal to buy the entertainment company on Friday.
We're taking our offer directly to shareholders because they deserve transparency and the ability to make an informed decision. Our proposal is superior to Netflix's in every dimension.
The offer is valued at over $108 billion, including debt. Unlike Netflix's bid, Paramount's includes cable television networks CNN and TNT. Paramount will appeal directly to Warner's shareholders, with an argument that its bid is more than what Netflix is offering, and more likely to get approval from the Trump administration.
There's no question about it. It could be a problem. They have a very big market share. And when they have Warner Brothers, that share goes up a lot.
President Trump, raising questions over Netflix's offer, says he will be involved in the decision. Hollywood unions and lawmakers are raising concerns over potential job cuts and higher prices for users. Many in the industry are also wondering what the streamer's long-term theatrical release strategy would be. But Netflix says their deal would drive value for consumers and shareholders, all while strengthening the entertainment industry.
This is a rare opportunity. And it's going to help us achieve our mission to entertain the world and to bring people together through great stories.
Paramount's offer will expire on January 8th unless it gets extended. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
The Los Angeles City Council wants officials with the Olympics to clarify the role and responsibilities of a federal task force in preparation for the 2028 Summer Games. They've asked the Olympics local organizing committee for a detailed presentation. President Trump has threatened to relocate the games if he believes Los Angeles is not ready to host. The president cannot legally remove the games from L.A., but his repeated threats to do so have heightened concerns about the federal task force's role in planning for the event. President Trump is announcing a $12 billion lifeline for U.S. farmers who've been hit hard by his trade war. This aid comes after China stopped buying American soybeans, leaving farmers struggling to sell the crops. The White House says row crop farmers, including soybeans, rice, and potatoes, will receive one-time payments with other aid based on market conditions. The package is part of the administration's effort to show the president is working to make life more affordable.
This relief will provide much-needed certainty to farmers as they get this year's harvest to market and look ahead to next year's crops.
People are not stupid. Costs are not down, they're going up. The president has even said affordability is a scam. What kind of bubble does he live in?
The president signed a DOJ task force order to fight price fixing and lower grocery bills. He is also taking his economic message to Pennsylvania tomorrow. The parents of a student at a prestigious Los Angeles school are now suing, claiming their 8-year-old daughter was sexually assaulted by older students. Fox 11's Susan Hirasuna reports they suspect the older students were part of a so-called kissing club.
We could see that perhaps it was something that she was internally battling because she didn't want to be left alone.
Max and Pantia never dreamed they'd be in the office of a sexual assault attorney. But they're here because they claim their now 9-year-old suffered through bullying and worse while a student at Sierra Canyon School. Sierra Canyon is an elite school known for notable alumni like Bronny James, Willow Smith, and the younger Kardashians. Tuition is as high as $40,000 for the lower grades.
She didn't want something bad to happen to her. She didn't want to be forced to go into a situation where she would be forced to do things that she did not want to do.
This complaint details the young girl's sickening experience forced into a kissing club in one of the school's unsupervised bathrooms by an older student. The parents' attorney said the girl was 7 when she was bullied into joining.
It involved actual kissing of young girls amongst each other, but it led to actual sexual touching and kissing of sexual body parts.
As a mother, the feeling of being hopeless and not being able to protect my child from this harm that 100% could have been avoided.
Pantea claims she notified the school and even did her own investigation. She learned the parents of another young girl filed a separate and similar complaint. Attorney Dordulian has a theory as to how schools can get away with ignoring disturbing incidents like the one suffered by his client. In his experience, schools will call the police, but
the police will come out and will say, okay, there's 6 and 7-year-olds involved or 8-year-olds. There can't be any criminal intent with 7 and 8-year-old children, so there's no crime that's committed. And that's what schools use to try to wash their hands.
And when I brought it up to the school, they just didn't respond to me.
And that was Fox 11's Susan Hirasuna reporting tonight. The parents are accusing the school of violating California's mandatory reporting laws. Those laws require schools to report suspected child abuse to authorities immediately. The school did issue a statement that says, quote, "We will not comment in detail on active litigation, but we want to be clear that the allegations are untrue and do not accurately reflect what occurred." Coming up tonight, here on West Coast Wrap, roaming free in the wild. What it took to get orphaned bear cubs in Colorado ready for their next adventure. Plus, pulling away from the urge to add to cart online. Tonight, holiday shoppers explain the perks of getting back into the malls.
Like the last generation who used to go to the mall and walk around and have fun, and everything went online.
In tonight's NFC West update, the division remains wide open. A battle between division rivals helped to put the Rams back on top of the NFC standings. Yesterday, the Rams beat the Cardinals 45-7 in Arizona. That win leaves the Rams with a record of 10-3. They are now number 1 in the NFC. The Seahawks also have a 10-3 record, and the 49ers are close behind at 9-4. Turning now to college football, and the Utah Utes have big plans for New Year's Eve this year. The team is headed for Las Vegas. Let's give you a live look here at Allegiant Stadium, not far from the Strip. This is where Utah will close out 2025 in the SRS Distribution Las Vegas Bowl. They'll be facing off against Nebraska in that matchup. Utah is number 15 in the polls. The team has faced Nebraska 4 previous times. All of those games were played in Lincoln, the home of the Cornhuskers. The Las Vegas Bowl tickets for the Las Vegas Bowl for the general public go on sale on December 12th. And another West Coast team, Arizona State, is also going to be playing a bowl game on New Year's Eve. The Sun Devils will take on Duke in the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl. That game will be played in El Paso, Texas. And if you think you're seeing more shoppers in stores this holiday season, you're not alone. Fox 10's Megan Spector has more tonight from Tempe, Arizona, where many people say the convenience of online shopping isn't going to keep them away from the malls.
Is it nostalgia?
The energy, kind of feel like it's the season. I don't see a lot of decorations up, but still kind of get the idea that it's, feels holiday-ish.
Or a need for instant gratification?
I want it immediately. I don't want to have to wait for it at all.
Whatever it is, it's filling malls with holiday shoppers.
It's just better to just have the stuff on hand than waiting for it in the mail, just to see if it fits at all.
Being online is kind of boring, but being at the mall, the people around and just having fun.
Get exercise too.
Yeah.
Let's take a look back to 1978, a familiar feeling of comfort and chaos.
Earlier tonight, we showed you how shoppers were coping with the overpopulated shopping centers.
Oh, this is just an absolute madhouse today.
It's a zoo. It's a real zoo.
The frenzy continues in 1989.
We've got the bargain hunters, we have the people who are panicking, trying to get their last-minute gifts.
It's memories like those that continue to drive 2025 consumers to shop online.
The crowds, maneuvering children through crowds of people is pretty difficult, so it's quicker, it's easier, gets delivered to the house, so normally it would be online.
And we're like the last generation who used to go to the mall and walk around and have fun, and everything went online.
Sure, shopping online is easy, but there's nothing like the holiday high of the mall hustle.
Going out and getting something and taking home same day, yeah.
It's better to come in person so that we could take the stuff home the same day.
Yeah, unfortunately, you find things that you didn't intend to go shopping for, but that's called impulse shopping, right?
And that was Fox 10's Megan Spector reporting tonight from Arizona. According to a survey conducted by PricewaterhouseCoopers, 53% of holiday shoppers are planning to make purchases in brick-and-mortar stores this year. Finally tonight, 5 orphaned bear cubs appear to be making themselves right at home in their new wildlife surroundings. Newly released video shows Colorado Parks and Wildlife officials releasing those cubs west of Colorado Springs last week. The cubs had been living at a wildlife rehabilitation center for months. The bears have been fitted with GPS trackers in a partnership with Cheyenne Mountain Zoo. This will allow wildlife experts to track their progress. Wish them all the best on this next adventure. That does it for West Coast Wrap tonight. We appreciate you watching as always, and a quick reminder that you can stay up to date on all the big stories we're covering across the West Coast by heading here to our website, westcoastwrap.com. We'll leave you with this rainy shot of downtown Seattle tonight. Have a great night.